Hello and welcome to Discover Wisconsin.
Right now, Discover Wisconsin is taking a very special look back at the last 2 decades of traveling our great state. You'll learn how it all started and see where we're heading in the future. It's all right now as we take a look back at 20 years of Discover Wisconsin.
Beauty awaits around each bend. The enchantment never ends. For every season there's another reason for you to come discover Wisconsin.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Discover Wisconsin. I'm Stephanie Klett. It's really hard to believe that it was 20 years ago that a Muskie guide's dream became reality as Discover Wisconsin aired for the first time. Today, you'll hear the entire story. Who was Dick Rose? How was Discover Wisconsin started? And what are some of our most memorable moments from the destinations we've brought to you each and every week? So sit back as we start at the beginning with a passionate man from northern Wisconsin who had a vision of how to promote our great state. Dick Rose was an accomplished fishing guide and dedicated family man from St. Germain, Wisconsin. Throughout his years on northern Wisconsin's lakes, he had his share of notable people on a boat with him. One person in particular, a man from Elroy running to become governor, would help Dick realize his dream.
Well, we were fishing one day, and he turned to me and he said, I've had this idea. And I said, what is it? He said, I really would like to promote Wisconsin. I'd like to put on a TV program. And I said, well, why don't you do it? He said, well, I don't have any money. And he says, do you think you could help me? And I said, well, if you can show me a good product, that we might be able to do it to promote tourism.
Well, Tommy Thompson and Dick Rose were the perfect pair to have on a boat to talk about how do you promote Wisconsin. And when you're out there on the beautiful lake at 6 o'clock in the morning, waiting for a muskie to strike, you keep dreaming. And that day, a new dream was born. That dream was Discover Wisconsin.
Dick eventually received financial support from the state to start his dream. But he still needed to raise half of the funds he would need to produce the first show. He quickly turned to another Northwoods native for advice.
He says, I need some sponsors. I need money to get this thing going. And he says, I look around the track over there and I see the sponsors you got, and he says, maybe you could give me a hand. I said, well, yeah, stop over sometime, and the next morning he was waiting for me at the door here.
For the pilot episode, Dick needed to raise $5,500 to match the state's contribution. He again looked in his own backyard and approached the owner of Triggs Food and Drugs.
I was the funding for the private sector to get it going, that first one. And after that, Dick had to go out and find other sponsors and other people to make the program work, and of course it did.
The pilot episode of Discover Wisconsin aired in February of 1987 in one single market, Wausau. With the dream now a reality, Dick began working to bring his passion for Wisconsin to a bigger audience. But with strong family support, he wasn't working alone.
We really rallied together. We all brought a little bit of something to the table. My mother actually came up with the name of Discover Wisconsin in the kitchen of her home in St. Germain, Wisconsin. My sister actually provided administrative help in the early years. In the evenings would come and help us put together proposals. Myself, I served in the role of sales and marketing side of the business. Later in the years, my brother joined our company, who was involved in the creative business out in Los Angeles, came home and eventually became the host after my father passed away. And then my wife, who was a CPA and is my business partner now, actually really came in to make sure that from a financial and from a business operational perspective that we were sound and we were operating as a true business. So it was kind of cool how everybody had their little piece of the pie, and as a unit we were all individually strong, but as a whole we were even stronger.
To hear more interviews about Dick Rose, or if you have stories you'd like to share about your experiences discovering Wisconsin, visit us at discoverwisconsin.com. While you're there, look for our special 20th anniversary Drive to Destination contest, where we're giving away monthly prizes to amazing Wisconsin destinations. When we come back, we'll bring you a video scrapbook of our first 20 years. Stay tuned. Welcome back as we take a look at the first 20 years of Discover Wisconsin. While the look of Discover Wisconsin has changed over the years, one thing remains constant. We strive to bring you the sights, sounds, people, and places that make Wisconsin special in an entertaining and informative way.
Welcome to Discover Wisconsin.
Dick Rose and Carol Crow brought you Discover Wisconsin in its first season.
For your next winter getaway.
After that first season, the state started to focus on promoting the things you could do and see during the winter months. Discover Wisconsin took this opportunity to do their part to inform viewers of this beauty.
Governor Thompson at that time decided we're going to put some extra money in the tourism budget, start promoting winter in Wisconsin, and subsequently Discover Wisconsin started to also add into its mix the promotion of winter tourism in Wisconsin.
With the added episodes, Discover Wisconsin looked for a full-time, permanent co-host for the show.
I'm Dick Rose.
And I'm Susan Shannon. And this week we're going to...
While Discover Wisconsin is not a fishing show, Dick always enjoyed getting out on the water to showcase our natural resources.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's Wisconsin, though. Oh.
And he made sure his co-hosts were there as well.
So he took me out and he was going to show me how to cast. And so I gave it the hardest little fling that you could imagine, and I caught it too fast. It just wound up in a big knot. And all he did was he just, you know, in Dick's way, he just smiled and he had that chuckle. And that was his way of saying, that's okay.
As more shows were produced and many more destinations were visited, the stories continued to accumulate.
We did a water skiing show. Neither one of us had skied since we were about 10 years old. It took him a couple takes, to say the least, to get up. He kept on it and he got up, and then it was my turn. And I think he was actually more happy that I got up on the first or second try, I can't remember what it was, than he cared about himself.
For 4 fun years, Dick and Susan discovered Wisconsin. With family always a priority to the Rose family, they completely understood why Susan had to leave the show.
My husband took a job in Chicago. With the show being up in Wisconsin, we were separated for quite some time, and then we had Eric, who, if you look back at some of those shows, I think we did a show up to 2 weeks before he was born. I have a daughter now too, so they keep me going pretty good.
So the search was on for a new co-host. Fortunately for me, Dick's son Rick had watched the national telecast of Miss America and told his dad that we went to Beloit College together. After the competition, I came back to Wisconsin and met with Dick. And as they say, the rest is history. Hello, and welcome to Discover Wisconsin. I'm Stephanie Klett. Over the course of the past 14 years, I've spent my fair share of time casting a line while discovering Wisconsin. And if I wasn't having such a wonderful time traveling the state, I'm sure I could have turned pro.
I'm out fishing a professional fisherman right now, 1-0. I got something. It's not looking good for him either. I've got something. I don't like to do this on TV, but sometimes it's got to be done.
I think you got a rock.
Oh, no. Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh.
For more clips from the past 20 years, log on to the new discoverwisconsin.com. When we come back, we'll take a look at Dick Rose's final episode and talk to his son that proudly took his place by my side. And we'll revisit some of the truly exciting, unusual, and memorable places we've discovered in Wisconsin. We'll be right back. We now continue our look back at 20 years of Discover Wisconsin. While Wisconsin's natural resources draw people to our state from across the country, and our scenic landscapes are simply awe-inspiring, Wisconsin also has its share of the unusual. Most people have heard of the House on the Rock, but a lot of people may not be familiar with the Rock in the House in Fountain City.
A 55-ton boulder came off the hill, came from about 500 feet, and it rolled right into the bedroom.
And if you're looking for something big, look no further than Wisconsin. Traveling our state, you'll find the world's largest loon in Mercer, a giant fiberglass muskie in Hayward, a bluegill in Birchwood, a huge letter M in Platteville, cows that won't fit into a barn, and the world's largest man himself, Paul Bunyan. For more information about Wisconsin's weird and wild side, visit discoverwisconsin.com. For a season and a half, I had the honor of traveling our state beside Dick Rose. I've never met a man so passionate about Wisconsin or meeting the people living here. During the 1993 season, Dick Rose was diagnosed with cancer. He valiantly kept taping episodes throughout his treatment. Unfortunately, he eventually lost his battle on August 14, 1994. The family immediately rallied together, and his son Rick came back home to carry on the dream as a host of Discover Wisconsin.
Hello and welcome to Discover Wisconsin. I'm Rick Rose.
And I'm Stephanie Klett. Today
To step into the role was perfect timing. I had worked in LA and New York previous to that and had enjoyed a lot of opportunity working in television development, working in theater. So when the opportunity, my dad asked us as kids, my brother Mark, my sister Mary, and myself to continue the company that he had created, it made perfect sense to come and carry on a legacy and have the opportunity to go on vacation every week and explore the great state of Wisconsin. That made perfect sense to come home.
For 8 years, Rick and I brought the sights and sounds of Wisconsin to our dedicated viewers. During that time, we both shared some amazing adventures that will stick with us forever.
One of my favorite memories of all times, it was my very first skydive and one of the first of many that I've subsequently done. And that was up in Superior, which remains one of my favorite episodes ever. It was tandem, I wasn't ready to do it by myself, and I was supposed to pull my tether cord. I totally forgot, but fortunately, he actually pulled the tether cord for me. It was a memory that even telling about, I relive over and over again.
Wisconsin Dells has been featured on Discover Wisconsin almost since the beginning of our show. Yep, that's Dick Rose with Tommy Bartlett himself back in 1992.
Fantastic, Tommy. I'll tell you, fantastic.
Another memorable trip to the Dells took place a decade later when Rick and I experienced Extreme World.
You just literally are lowered onto a platform, and then the platform falls out on you, and you drop. Totally unexpected. The first time, never knew what it would be like. But after doing it once, I was addicted, and I wanted to do it again and again and again.
While Rick was testing his nerve in a free fall,
So I'm holding here.
I challenged their rock wall.
Woo! I was doing so good for a while. Okay.
Then they harnessed both of us in the Sky Coaster. I quickly, and I mean quickly, learned what it was like to drop from 100 feet to barely 6 feet off the ground at over 60 miles per hour. Well, Rick's last show with Discover Wisconsin was in 2002, and he now finds himself still connected to the tourism industry.
I moved to Hannibal, Missouri. Bought an old home, made it into a bed and breakfast, and that's exactly what threw me back into tourism. So from promoting tourism, as I did on Discover Wisconsin, to being an operator of tourism, really was an interesting twist. But moving on from the B&B, then I acquired an 1870s property and made it into a bistro. And then most recently, I acquired about a year and a half ago or so a property called Rockcliffe Mansion on the National Historic Register. I acquired this property. It's a new restaurant that's opening called the Corner Cafe. And then right behind me, looking at the station where I host a show every morning at WGEM, an NBC affiliate, I'm very, very, very fortunate to be doing what I'm doing and still have my ties to Wisconsin.
For additional video clips and interviews about the history of the show, visit discoverwisconsin.com. While you're there, register in our monthly 20th anniversary Drive to Destination contest. Stay tuned because when we come back, we're unveiling something special to commemorate our milestone. And we'll take one final look back at the career of Dick Rose. And now more Discover Wisconsin's a look back at our first 20 years. Discover Wisconsin has truly evolved over the past 2 decades. From one episode airing in one market to a full 52-week schedule running throughout the Midwest, we've featured destinations in every corner of the state. Discover Wisconsin is now much more than a weekly television show. You'll hear us promoting tourism through our daily radio program airing across the state. You'll see us at various trade shows highlighting the destinations we visited. And you can access us 24 hours a day for valuable information on our newly designed discoverwisconsin.com. We're continuing to find new avenues to promote tourism across the state and the country. In this special 20th anniversary season, you'll find 4 specials that feature 20 great destinations we've visited in the past 2 decades. And since 2005, Discover Wisconsin has been airing seasonal specials across the U.S. through the Travel Channel.
I'm really pleased that my administration has been able to be part of Discover Wisconsin's reaching out to everybody across the United States by reaching out to a national audience with seasonal specials that show everybody what a wonderful place Wisconsin is to visit.
For more information about any of these special airings, visit discoverwisconsin.com. Nothing Discover Wisconsin has accomplished over the past 2 decades would have been possible without our partners who help fund our production. That's why when we travel, we're proud to be driving in Chevrolet vehicles. Chevy has been a sponsor of Discover Wisconsin since the beginning, and this partnership has produced something really special.
You think about how do you commemorate 20 years? So what a perfect opportunity to put together a specially contented and equipped Chevrolet Silverado in a Discover Wisconsin 20th year anniversary edition. It's a natural, what a great way to kick off the launch of the Silverado and to celebrate 20 years of partnership with Chevrolet and Discover Wisconsin.
The Discover Wisconsin 20th anniversary equipped Silverado will be heading to Wisconsin showrooms this spring, so you can stop in and see one for yourself. As you can see, we really have come a long way since a guide and a governor began discussing tourism while muskie hunting. And we continue to be dedicated to bringing the sights, sounds, and stories of Wisconsin's people to you every week. While we look towards the next 20 years, we would be remiss in not taking one final look back at the man who started it all.
I guess the most touching day was the day that they laid him to rest on the edge of the lake with the group from Big Top Chautauqua there to sing, and the family there. Beautiful day. My memories of Dick are everlasting.
I can still remember, Dick Rose standing in that boat saying, "I can do this, Tommy, and it'll be good for you, it'll be good for Wisconsin."
No problem. All right.
He gave me so much more than I gave him, and I always appreciate and love he and his family and what they were able to accomplish.
Wisconsin should be very grateful that there was a Dick Rose because he did a lot for this state.
Alex, can I do the net man? He's too heavy. Oh my God, I'm excited.
If I ever go out hunting for muskies, if I ever get one, because you can go a whole lifetime without getting one, he's probably the one that put it on my line because he wanted the best for everybody. And that's why he wanted to share his state with everybody.
I'll see you all out there when you discover Wisconsin.